Understanding the Bible requires more than reading words on a page. It requires learning to see the world as its authors and communities once saw it. Every reader approaches the text through cultural lenses shaped by language, education, religion, and historical moment. Those lenses matter. When modern readers approach ancient texts without recognizing the distance between their world and the ancient world, misunderstanding is almost inevitable. The people who produced the biblical writings lived in a world profoundly different from the modern one. Ancient societies did not think in terms of individualism, scientific explanation, or abstract theology. Identity was communal rather than personal, rooted in family, tribe, and land. Time was understood cyclically rather than progressively, and meaning was derived from tradition rather than innovation. These differences shape how stories were told, how laws were framed, and how divine action was understood. Politically, the biblical world was defined by imperial domination. Israel and Judah were rarely independent and almost never powerful. They lived under the shadow of larger empires: Egyptian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Greek, and Roman. Power flowed downward from kings and emperors, and survival depended on accommodation, resistance, or faithful endurance. In this world, there was no separation between religion and state. Political authority was inseparable from divine legitimacy. Kings ruled by the favor of the gods, temples functioned as economic and political centers, and religious loyalty was a civic duty. The religious environment of antiquity was overwhelmingly polytheistic. Most people believed in many gods, each responsible for particular locations, natural forces, or aspects of life. Religion focused less on belief and more on cultic practice. Rituals, sacrifices, festivals, and offerings designed to maintain divine favor. Doctrine, ethical systems, and creeds played a minimal role. Concern for the afterlife was limited. Religion addressed survival, fertility, protection, and prosperity in the present world. Against this backdrop, Israelite religion stands out as distinctive. Israel insisted on monotheism, the exclusive worship of one God who was not tied to nature or geography, but who claimed authority over all nations. This God entered into a covenant, a binding relationship with Israel that carried moral and communal obligations. Central to this covenant was the law of Moses, which governed not only worship but social justice, community life, and ethical responsibility. Worship was also centralized. Unlike surrounding cultures with many local shrines, Israelite worship was eventually focused on a single sacred space, the Jerusalem Temple. The destruction of the temple forced a profound religious transformation. With sacrifice no longer possible, communal life adapted through the rise of synagogues, spaces for prayer, teaching, and the study of Scripture. This development reshaped Judaism and laid essential foundations for early Christianity. Seen within its cultural context, the Bible emerges not as a detached theological manual, but as a living response to real political pressures, religious diversity, and historical change. Faith articulated in conversation with the world in which it was born.